The best part of your week is about to begin. This is the time where we talk shop, swap stories, and share lessons from our wild adventures in the creative industry. With each and every lovingly crafted episode, we strive to bottle that magic, warm, electric feeling you get after coffee with a new friend or attending a fantastic breakout session at a creative conference. You might start as strangers, but you'll leave as friends. Buckle up, settle in, and get ready for this episode of Making a Mark. Hello and welcome to another episode of Making a Mark, the show where we bring on creators and ask them one big creative question. I am joined, as always, by wife, mother, entrepreneur, and graphic designer extraordinaire, Ashley Ulmer.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going great.
That was a good intro. I like that one. That was an empowering
It's
intro.
just like a solid adult intro, which I rarely do. Like if you're looking for full adulthood out of me every episode, Ashley, you're gonna be disappointed.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. No.
I'm gonna try really hard to be an adult today and not interrupt a whole bunch and not talk the whole time though. Specifically in light of our topic. What are we talking about with the amigos today?
So our official topic is called Leading Ladies, but I'm gonna call it the Girl Power episode.
Ooh.
We're talking about females in the creative industry, in leadership, as mothers, as wives, just being a woman in this day and age in this industry as well.
Yeah. It's
also talking about struggles. Sorry, I forgot that part. We're talking about the struggles of that too.
Sure. Yeah, that was kind of one of the things that we had kicked around. We like to have the audience vote on Instagram. If you're not following on Instagram, now's a great time to follow on Instagram at Making a Mark Pod. Yeah, we throw out votes on there like anytime we're split on a topic, and I do feel like there's a lot of crossover between these two. But yeah, let's go ahead and bring our fantastic guests on. Who's joining us today?
So we have Chantelle and Kyra with us today.
Ladies,
hey guys. Hello.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hello. Happy to be here.
Guys, if you've seen the show before, you know that we do everything in round robin. Today we're going to start with Ashley, go Chantelle, Kyra, and then me. But let's go ahead and do intros, starting with Chantelle. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Awesome. Well, hey y'all. I'm Chantelle Anderson. In a past life, I played in the WNBA, so that's what most people want to know.
That's so cool.
But currently, I have been an entrepreneur for the last 6 years. I do corporate consulting, teaching confidence and leadership to corporate audiences, helping them diversify their leadership pipeline. I also run an online platform called Confidently His to help women build their confidence and identity in Jesus. And I'm an author. So I wrote a book called God, What the Heck? 100 devotionals for when life sucks. And I absolutely love to write. I live in LA, by the way. So I love sunshine in the winter and being able to go to the beach year round.
That's fantastic. Wow.
That's amazing.
Star-studded intro. I will say, as I was prepping for the show, you're, I think, our first guest that has a Wikipedia page.
Oh, gosh.
You're for sure big time.
Oh, that's amazing.
There's WNBA stats. You've got a Wikipedia page. Among the other, professional accomplishments you have, those definitely feel like things that I can't say.
That's so incredible, for real. The WNBA thing, when I saw that this morning, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. It honestly feels like a past life.
I can imagine. Yeah. I mean, how many years ago was that?
Oh man, you're gonna age me.
But okay, sorry.
No,
I won't say. Okay. I won't go there.
I retired in 2009.
Okay.
So it's been a minute.
That's amazing.
That's around the same time I was thinking that I was going to be a rock star for a living. So I can completely relate to, I had a whole different trajectory for life and happily doing something different. But
right. It
awesome.
Was a dream come true though. So yeah.
That's awesome. You also feel, again, I'm a terrible host sometimes because I didn't know, or I didn't put two and two together like you've got a leadership pipeline bent towards diversity. And so like thinking about like you for the topic today, that wasn't even what was going on in my head, but that's literally your job is to do some of what we're diving into today. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Is, just help people understand people who are different than them better, but also help minorities and other people just advance in leadership, to prepare them for the rigors of leadership, to help them build confidence and leadership presence in general, in corporate, in wherever. So yeah, I absolutely love it. Just pouring into people and helping them be better.
That's fantastic. Yeah. I don't know, call it luck, call it chance, call it the Holy Spirit, whatever, but clearly there was some alignment happening here, kind of
Come
an
on,
accident
God.
on my
Right.
part. So
Yeah,
that's
I was just
fantastic.
gonna say that. I was like, it's literally she's the perfect guest for today. That's
I
amazing.
love that. Kyra, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am doing great. I feel like I was on a phone call earlier, and I always burn myself absolutely to pieces over the course of the week. So we get here to Friday, the best day of the week, where we have the show, and I'm like, but that was more than you were asking for.
That's a grandpa sigh. That was what was that?
It was a grandpa sigh. Old men are tired, bro. You've been doing a lot. Kyra, this is not about me or grandpas. This is your time. This is your time in the sun. What tell us about yourself. Where are you from? What do you do?
So my name is Kyra. I am one of the VPs of design over at Church Media Squad. I am situated up in Alberta, Canada. Some of my hobbies are when I'm not designing and drawing and doing all that creative stuff. My husband and I really like the outdoors. So camping, hiking. We love spending time in the mountains. We didn't get to do much of that last year because I had a baby girl. So
Congrats.
thank you.
Oh,
So we're hoping to get back to that this coming year. But yeah, that's a little bit about me.
I love it. Are you guys
That's
going to be
awesome.
doing the baby saddles and stuff when you go out on the trails, or
Oh, yeah.
is she staying home? Okay.
No, she's coming. She's already been to the mountains once, so we're gonna like once it warms up, we're gonna be out there with her on the trails again. So
that's awesome.
I love it. Yeah, I waited until our kids were a little bit older to start taking them on hikes and stuff, but we'll see the adventurous parents out there at 6 a.m. with like little nugget bundled up and,
Yeah, there are.
on the little stretched on the little like chest things and stuff. But yeah, that's awesome. Well, we're so glad to have you both. Guys, so let's go ahead and jump on into the topic today. And as we were talking about in the green room, sometimes it's great to use this little first time around the wheel, kind of defining the question. But really, we want to just center everything around what are the unique challenges and opportunities of leading as a woman, whether it's in your place of worship or your job or nonprofit or other kind of like extracurricular activities. Ash, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah. So, I'll kick it off by kind of just relating my experience, as a woman in, I guess, this industry. And so I'm a freelancer, obviously. So I don't, work for anybody and no one works for me. So I wouldn't say it's necessarily leadership, but the way I kind of view it, this topic is owning a business. So leading that, as well as, being a mom and kind of managing that as well. Cause that's, its own job in itself. But yeah, so I mean, it's a lot of fun. I feel like I'm excited to kind of talk about the latter part of it, the struggle bus side of it, because I definitely can relate to that as far as feeling the overwhelm of, being a woman and doing this, but also being a mom and family life and everything like that. Like it can be a lot sometimes. So yeah, but I'm excited to talk more about it.
So you're telling me trying to run a business and be a homemaker and raising children is not easy?
It's definitely not. No.
Okay.
It's fun, but it's
Yeah.
definitely, and it's fun. It's funny because I'm always like very like, sunshine and rainbows. I'm like, oh yeah, everything's great. It's good. But then sometimes I realize like this week, for instance, I like barely got anything done like work wise, like because it was just all because my husband was out of town working. So it was just like double mom time. And so I'm like, I don't know. Sometimes I get down. We'll talk about this more with the struggle bus. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot, but it's fun.
Word.
No, I can totally feel that. It's definitely the overwhelm. I think for me, it is working for myself, but and for me, it's balancing the business aspect and the ministry aspect.
Yeah.
Because I have my own business, but then I am very active in my home church.
Mm.
And so it's like you want to serve and you want to do all of these things. You want to pour out, you want to give to other people. But at the same time, you're trying to like run this business who a lot of people just don't really understand what that looks like or the commitment that needs to be done or anything really about
Sure.
it. And so you're constantly going back and forth between like, okay, ministry, business, ministry. And for me, because my business in a way is faith-based, right? The online platform and the writing, it can be hard to be like, yeah, I have to work, but then I'm gonna go home and write. And
Yeah.
somebody's like,
Yeah.
yeah, can you jump in a Bible study real quick? And I'm like, I could. I actually could, but I shouldn't.
Yeah.
You
But
know?
no,
Yeah.
not right now. Yeah.
Right. So I think for me, that's one of the hardest parts. It's like balancing the ministry and the business.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think my experience is a little bit like that as well. Like I think as women, like working as leaders, whatever, we wear a lot of hats. We're juggling a lot of things. It's like like Chantelle said, we're involved in our church, we're raising our family, we're doing our jobs. I'm fortunate I get to work in an agency setting, so I don't need to run the business side of it. But the flip side is I'm managing a team of several designers who are managing teams of designers. And so
Yeah.
I'm having to consistently be keeping up on those kinds of things. And like, it's like another hat that I've had to figure out how to juggle. And I can't even speak from a place of like expertise on the mom thing yet, because like my baby is still in the phase where like I'll get it nailed in and 1 week it'll be like, I've got this figured out.
Yeah.
And she'll hit a new phase and it's like, we're figuring this out all over again.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
Yep.
Let me just
so I
real
feel kind of
quickly
like
interject.
a hat with prongs sometimes where it's all over the place. But
Yep.
yeah.
Let me just tell you, the figure out the kid thing never happens, because every 6 months you just roll the dice again and everything changes. So don't worry, that one's never going to get fixed. Don't worry about that one.
That's what
It's just gonna be
I was going to ask you, Kyra, when you were saying that, you know, you manage a team at Church Media Squad and everything like that, like how is that with, you know, what we call mom brain or whatever? Like, I feel like since I've had kids, I mean, that was, 12 and a half years ago I've had kids. I feel like I'm literally every day losing brain cells. Like, I feel like I'm forgetting stuff all the time. Like, how are you managing people? Like, I can barely manage myself. Like most days I'm like, if I don't write down what I have to do, I will not do it. I will forget 100%. And so how is it that you manage a team and have the baby at home? Is that hard?
It has its challenges. Some days are trickier. I'm really fortunate because my husband also works at home, so we trade off shifts in order to like help each other out. But like some of it, I think like it works in my favor with her still being so young. And like the pregnancy brain is worn off. And so like I just chose like, okay, I've got to dive back in and intentionally, like I'm constantly learning. I'm like actively, how can I get better as a leader? How can I get better productively? How can I hone in my focus? Like I am running a whole bunch of apps that just streamline everything or like cut off distractions, or so that way when I'm working, I am working. When I'm leading, I'm leading. When I'm momming, I'm momming. And trying not to wear all the hats at once, but where I can like be more efficient in each seat as I'm having to do them. So
separating the hats
so
into little categories.
That's so good.
Yeah. So far, what I'm hearing is a lot of kind of a theme of like balance. And to your point, Kyra, being able to get really stringent about your categories, whether it's like, I'm only doing this during this time, or like, here's nap time, like this is when this is happening, or or like similarly having like, hey, if I've only got 3 hours to crush all my like team check-ins, like y'all better show up, like this stuff needs to happen. And I think that that's honestly really good practice, if you will, for, if you do want to run your own business, or you do want to, step into other, because like top performing leaders, regardless of gender or whatever, like that's the stuff that they're always preaching is, you've got to be organized, you got to be intentional about your time, you've got to be able to balance multiple things going on at once. And I feel like this is great proving ground that, us regular folks are doing all the time. And when I say us, I'm at home with my kids. I'm not the homemaker necessarily, but yeah, here we go. We're already sticking our foot in our mouth. That's great. So
You're doing great, Josh. Good job.
I'm trying to.
You're doing great.
I don't remember if I said it on the episode, but in the green room, I was like, all right, this is the time I can't mansplain and I can't talk over everybody. Of all the episodes, I know that's like the natural move here, but just shut your mouth for one episode, Josh. And
well, Josh, I do have a question though. Is your wife, does she work from home as well?
Yeah, so she is like her main gig is the house kids, like Homemaker Vibe.
Okay.
She's got something else starting up pretty soon this summer, which I'll be excited to share with you later. But yeah, so that's her main deal.
Right,
but at the same time, like you guys all know that you need a break from the kiddos, and it definitely. I think God intended two parents to raise kids, not just one total outsourced situation.
Yeah.
So there are times when I can relate a bit where I'm running kids to the doctor and moving phone calls around and stuff, just because life happens and parenthood and all that.
For sure. For sure.
No, that's awesome. I think another thing that as a woman leading that I run into is the communication, right? Like being able to communicate with other women in leadership versus other men in leadership. And so this is a mostly faith-based audience, right? And so I personally believe that God made the man the head of the household. Men have that, like, that natural wiring, right?
Sure.
And as a woman, it says that Eve was created to help Adam, right? And so I think there is a spiritual dynamic and a natural just wiring dynamic. And so being a woman in leadership, one thing that I feel like I have had to do, and this may be controversial, is learn how to communicate as a woman to a man who is also in leadership in a way that he will respect what I'm saying and hear what I'm saying and do what I'm saying in some ways because I may be better at that specific area or whatever. But in a way that still allows him to feel respected and still allows him to feel valued. And I think the communication with men in leadership has proven to be very different than the communication with other women in leadership.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that
so
makes a
like I
ton
said,
of
I know
sense.
that may be a little controversial, but
No,
totally.
yeah.
Chantelle, making a mark is Outback Steakhouse. There's no rules, so you have your thoughts, opinion, and I'm okay with arguing on the show or in the comments or whatever. Like, we're serving up ideas. And so one of the things that, go ahead, Ash.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I can relate to that for sure. Like what you're saying, like the dynamic of, because I've worked at agencies and stuff throughout the years, and there was always kind of a different. Maybe not like necessarily that I felt like men were treating me different than the women did, but more so there was just a kind of a different way to communicate. Like, I don't know, like it's almost like when you're working with a woman in leadership, it's almost like you immediately feel, and I feel this way even about my clients, like, not in leadership, but clients I work with today. So I'll relate to that. Like I immediately feel like, oh, hey, that's my girl. That's my, like putting little heart emojis, like love you, girl, whatever. Whereas with guys, I'm just like, thank you so much. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just like you immediately feel like that connection. I don't know. It's weird.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I was excited about doing this episode is conversations that I've had with clients or I've kind of seen vicariously in projects where, like fantastic lady, great at her job. And then she feels the need to sidebar with me before we have conversations about, hey, like, can you help me like Trojan horse this idea through? Because it needs to come from a man. And I was like, yes, obviously, but that sucks. Like that is the dynamic here.
Yeah.
And I don't think if you had like a conversation with any, I would like to hope anyway, you have a conversation with any guys, they would say like, yeah, like that's how it should be. But like it's what happens, you know? And so I just think that in addition to like I also think we're missing half of the picture here. I mean, you take like me and Ashley's work just from a creative standpoint, not even talking about communication, leadership style, any of that stuff. Like you'd say, hey, do us, you know, a tattoo flash sheet, and like give us the same prompt. Like, hey, we're doing flaming pitchforks or whatever. Like she and I will both.
Pitchforks.
I don't know. I don't know. And so. And like she and I could be in a similar vein because we're both a little whimsical, a little colorful, a little crazy, both illustrated style, but it's just gonna feel different. And like if you say, hey, like one of these is more valuable than the other, then you're just losing out on half of the perspective, half of the style, half of the like notes. And so like I just think that's where. That's one area to just be thinking like, hey, like we're trying to accomplish the job with one hand right now. Like, is there a way to rope in the other? And I don't know practically what that looks like in some ways, but I feel like that definitely is the goal we should be striving towards.
Yeah, I've definitely had that conversation, Josh, with like a guy that I was co-leading with, and I was like, hey, I've said this a couple times and it's not getting done. Can you please champion this? Can you please say this? And he was like, yeah, of course. And I'm so sorry, but yes. And he did it and it got done, you know? And so that is very much a thing. And I think the key is having men who are open to that, you know, that don't necessarily support it, but that are willing to be like, absolutely, sure, I'll do this. And I will shout you out or not, depending on the need of the moment.
For sure.
And this is another one that, again, I know I said I was going to talk less on this episode. Here we are. Been involved in projects with my wife and needing her a similar deal, like bringing me to the side and saying like, hey, this idea needs to come from you so that way it will get approved because it like otherwise it's going to get gunned down, and going like that seems broken if this is where we're at.
Sure.
But yeah, Kyra, do you? I know this one could be a little touchy for you because some of your team and potentially your boss is going to see this episode. So if you're going to lambast anybody, but make sure that it's like super removed.
No, actually, like in the context I'm in now, I'm actually super fortunate because like I am on a leadership team that is consistent of men and women. And like, I do genuinely feel like my voice is heard in this context, but like in a past life, that definitely wasn't always the case. I can remember times where I, back in like past ministry life, like long time ago, I used to work in youth ministry and like pitching an idea to someone in a ministry and it's really exciting. And then like, they'll meet me and be like, oh, you're a woman. I thought I was expecting to be working with a man, and suddenly the whole dynamic changes. And like it's like it's unfortunate that stuff happens. And like I do feel we are like, and I guess I can't speak to the whole population like of women working in ministry and in leadership, but I do feel we're starting to get better because I feel like people are starting to recognize this is something that happens. And this is like we're taking more time to look inwards and see like how can we recognize this and how can we amplify women who are in leadership or like give them a voice to speak and contribute to things. And one of the sorry, I just like mom brained and totally derailed.
No, you're good. I literally have my 6-year-old just walking around and I keep telling him, I'm like, be quiet, stop walking around.
Yeah, so that's a challenge I deal with a lot is I can be like totally like on something and my brain will go off. So apologies, that probably won't be the last time that happens. But
hey, I haven't born any children and that happens to me.
Same.
Another thing I was going to say that like in a past life, what I found really tricky is that if you're seated at a table for decision making and you are a woman and often contributing ideas and stuff, if you're like me and like when you get really passionate, it tends to manifest almost like crying. Like when I get really passionate about something. And so it almost gets written off like, oh, she's emotional, and it's not like a founded like basis on something.
Therefore, it's not a real note. Yeah.
Exactly. It can get written off as emotion. And if we bring up the same idea consistently, like this is something that needs to change, it can get written off as like, oh, she's just nagging. And it's like there's some of these little like micro sayings that we've just been programmed to think, like hearing the same thing over and over and over. Like when it comes from a woman, I feel people think it's nagging. And if like in times when we're putting our foot down on something and have to take the hard line, it can come across as like, oh, she's being like a really not nice word. Like she's just
It's like
Absolutely.
it's like catch-22 kind of thing.
Yeah. And that's I think, to piggyback off that, the confidence from a man reads differently than confidence from a woman in certain situations. And so you do have to just kind of walk that line. Absolutely. And as a confident woman, naturally, I have been in situations where I'm like, man, I can smell that this man is intimidated by me. Like I can just because it's something I've dealt with my whole life, and I happen to be really tall and I'm outspoken, and so I've had to work very, very much on my gentleness and being able to work with other people and things like that. But like, it is a thing where you're like, okay, how confident can I be in this situation, and how do I communicate this in a way where it comes off like I'm trying to help, which I am, instead of I'm trying to control, which I'm not.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think, I mean, I'll wave the flag here, but it feels like kind of insane that you guys are having to do this like inventory of like, what is appropriate for me to do in this situation, or like how y'all are having an extra checkpoint between like something needs to happen and then it gets received, that whether it should or should not be happening from a male standpoint, like y'all have to do it. And like, we're just like, we got to change it, and then I don't know, but
I think that would be accurate.
Okay. I was speaking again. I'm not gonna bring up anybody's names for their own sake, but I have another client who's it's a husband and wife. They're both leading a church out in California, and she was explaining to her husband one time. She said, "Yeah, it is hard to preach, and there are challenges and like opposition for like when you're getting up on the stage on Sunday, but you got to imagine too. I've got all that plus I'm trying to compete with half of the room writing me off, and like it's a different thing." And we got to like acknowledge that to a certain degree. Let me ask you guys this on a whole separate note: is a woman's intuition a real thing?
Oh, for sure. I think it is 100%.
Chantelle?
Yes.
Okay, Kyra?
Yes.
All right. I will emphatically agree to, and it took me probably 6 years of our marriage to get here. But to where I will literally die on that hill and trust my wife's read on a situation. If she's like, don't trust it, don't like him, this is a bad move. I was like, why, babe? Give me reasons. Can't. It's just not good. I'm like, well, we're going forward anyway. And then lo and behold, it. So that's another one, talking about the two sides of the coin that we need to, we're trying to accomplish stuff with one hand tied behind our back when we are ignoring those gut instincts and need maybe more proof or more thought behind it. Similar to just the whole perspective of things. But have you guys ever used your superpower in business settings?
For sure.
Do you want to share an example?
Well, I mean, I guess I could kind of even relate. Because I know when you're saying your wife had a bad feeling about something, but you move forward, I know what you're talking about, right? Like we're talking about the company that should not be named.
We're talking about a pre-fight. No, it wasn't even that one.
It wasn't that one. Oh, okay, never mind. Well, anyway, so that was a good example. With that situation, I immediately had a bad feeling, and that's why walking into that situation, I was like, well, I'm just gonna I'm just going to try it out, but I'm not going to get attached. I'm not going to trust it. And so that's why for me, like when that broke off, I was just like, I'm good. Cause I didn't like, I had a super bad feeling about it the whole time. And so definitely in business, but yeah, I mean, I can definitely relate, like even just in our family life, like certain decisions we're making as a family or, with my husband's job or anything like that. Like usually like if I have a feeling, I'm like, this is the Holy Spirit. Like I can feel like this is not right, or this is what we need to do. And like, he trusts that. And it usually happens. So, I mean, I believe in it.
I love it.
Yeah. I think for me, it's normally in business where I have an intuition, I have a feeling, and I'm like, I don't think that's a good path to go down, or I think it's just different perspectives. Like the more differences you have that is looking at a problem or looking at a situation, you're going to be able to provide different perspectives. And so I think a woman's perspective is very important, whereas we're just going to pick up on different cues. We're going to pick up on different energies. We're going to pick up on different, women are typically, not always, but typically more empathetic as far as like, okay, I can feel what's going on here in a different way than a man can.
Yes.
In the same way, men bring a needed perspective to everything as well. So that's why God put us together as a partnership. We were made to be a powerful partnership where both perspectives were included. And I think, the world has ruined that, right? First it was treating women as property, and now it's really, as far as society is going, it feels like they're trying to erase men and male power and male leadership from the world in general. And so swinging all the way to the other extreme, when really we're meant to just validate both of our different gifts that we bring to the table.
Yeah.
That's good. It's like we need both. We need to hear both, and instead the answers are like mute one or the other one.
Right.
That's good. Kyra.
Yeah, I think on a similar vein, like I can think of times both like home life and business where like something will just not sit right, and like I'll tell my husband about it, and it's like I can't like fully explain what it is. It just doesn't feel right. And just the nature of my personality is like I like to research, I like to dig, and it's like if I can find, like I'm gonna look for what's maybe setting it off. And like it's led me to be able to like find all kinds of things and be like, okay, so yeah, my intuition was right in this case. Or like I can have a pretty in-depth read on people pretty quickly too. Like I'll be able to meet someone, and after a few conversations and be like, okay, like I can just get a feel like they're a genuinely good person. I love their heart. I love their passion. And then on the contrary, I've met people where it's like, I'll meet them and it's like, there's a mask, there's something not right. Like they're hiding, they're not genuine. And yeah, like it's one of those things that like when it comes in the moment, I can't explain it, but it's like, I do feel like it is a superpower. And like, as Chantelle said, I do believe it is something that it works in conjunction with a lot more of the straight-laced kind of logic and things like that men bring to the table. And not that women can be logical, but we bring that bit of feeling to the table. And sometimes it has been kind of written off as weakness, but no, it's a superpower, and it's meant to work together.
Right.
Absolutely. Come on, Kyra.
Super good. Guys, we got a comment down here, and this one's a little bit more general, but just love to kind of unpack like roadblocks or challenges that you face in your career, and then how did God use that in your life, or how did you kind of overcome a hurdle and it pivot you into something better?
Oh man.
Yeah, I'll let Chantelle start out. Let me think of mine for a second.
She says pass.
Pass. Go ahead.
No, I absolutely love this question. And as an athlete, I like definitely relate to this 100%. And so I retired when I was 29. I retired from professional basketball because I broke my kneecap, and then I tore my Achilles, and then I tore my ACL, and then I like messed up my foot. So it was
all
like
at the same time, or these separate?
Man.
Like, listen, my body was like, listen, we're not doing this anymore. And so we're done. So I was like, dang, okay, Cool. So I bounced around a lot. I didn't know what else I was going to do after basketball. And so I got into coaching. That wasn't it. Then I got into medical device sales. I was pretty good at that, but I had always wanted to run my own business. And so then I had to make the leap to full-time entrepreneurship and full-time ministry. And so, planting churches and running a business. And so I think, which is what I do now. And I think for me, I knew that I could be an entrepreneur because of everything I had fought through as an athlete. I knew that I could be a disciple of Jesus and, take up my cross daily and deny myself because I had to do that for basketball so many times, right?
Yeah.
And so I think whatever hardships we go through is really training. And I try to look at it that way. Now I can also be a little bit spoiled, like as far as I want this my way. God, what the heck is going on? Hence why I wrote that book. And so I have to remember, like, oh no, God loves me and He's training me through this. He's trying to make me better through this. And and I go back to examples of my coach as well, and I think of God as a coach sometimes. And so I don't know. I think my trials have definitely prepared me for the life that God has for me now.
Dang, that's
Absolutely.
good. Kyra, do you have
Yeah,
basketball injuries to share with us?
No. Growing up, I was like the quintessential art geek, emo kid kind of type of thing. So, maybe like a sore wrist from drawing too much. But,
carpal tunnel?
Yeah. But, so like I've done a few career jumps to get where I'm at because, as I mentioned, I used to be in youth ministry. I pastored for a couple years. And so I was living in a very remote town, very small church, small youth group. And just like I loved it, but it just didn't feel like that was the right thing for the long term. And so it was a really tough move out of that. And so like I moved home. I went back to, I worked in retail for a bit to try to figure out like, I want to be in ministry, but I don't know where that's going to be. Like I had a degree in Bible college and I didn't want to like let that go to waste. Like, and I did feel like I needed something that was a ministry based career. And then, working retail, still trying to figure it out. I found a program to go back to school and do graphic design. So I did that. No idea where it was going to take me. And
so what got you cued on to graphic design?
As I mentioned, I was always like an art nerd. I played with Photoshop in high school and stuff like that. And like, it was actually just like, my dad who had come to me with like, hey, I found this program. This might be something that really interests you. And so I checked it out and it was like, well, what's another stint at school? And so, I went back to school. I finished that up and, hopped around between working in a print shop and ended up working at a church finally. And it was some really good experience, but there was still something. It's like, I wanted something a little more. And I couldn't put my finger on it. But like I worked with some great people. I worked in a great setting, but it was the kind of thing that there wasn't a lot of room for me to grow in the leadership aspect. And so I eventually was Church Media Squad, when they were still pretty new, had reached out to me about coming to work for them. And so I started at the base level design position with them 4 years ago, working part-time, doing a few projects a week in conjunction with my full-time job at the church. And then I just like got such a good feeling about them. Like that's part of the intuition, because when you get someone messaging you on Instagram out of nowhere, it can feel really like, is this a real thing? Like we get so much like spam messages, but this one I'm like, no, something, I'm going to check it out. And like, after 4 years, like been given opportunities to just like progress. And now like I'm leading teams of teams, and getting to pour into designers and getting to work in a ministry job that did not exist when I was in Bible college learning for ministry. So it just shows me that like these long drawn out seasons of like, where am I going? What am I doing?
Yeah.
And then landing where I'm at now, it's like, I feel like I'm thriving.
Yeah.
Like I'm where I'm supposed to be. And like all of those things, those tough seasons, they were exactly the stepping stone I needed to get to where I am now. So
can I bring up a question? This is kind of off topic, but kind of what you said, Kyra, because I was thinking about this anyway, just as females. So you were saying the mess, like you get, sometimes we get DMs and it's like, is this real or is this like spam or whatever? Can I just talk about like females in social media, like in general, just being on social media? Like, I mean, I know because I talked to my friends about this. Like, isn't it super annoying that sometimes just literally just existing as a woman, like it feels like people are constantly being like, oh, well, you're so pretty, or oh, like you almost feel like with men. So like, for instance, Josh, like on the old Freelance Fridays, right? Like sometimes we'd get messages like pretty blonde girl. I'm like, well, we're not even talking about my face. Like, why are you even like, we're like, stop. Like that makes me feel so uncomfortable.
And it was like, oh, so beautiful.
Yeah. I'm like, but why? Like, you know what I mean? Like just existing. And it's not like I'm like putting anything out there. I'm like, clearly, like I'm married. Like I'm not like trying to like be like that. But I don't know. Do you guys ever experience things like that? Like literally just like just living your life. And then it's just like, you almost feel like there's like this weird, like, wall. Like I said, even like at the beginning of the thing, like when I get comments on Instagram, if it's a male, like 100%, I won't heart it. I won't put a heart because I don't want to like put any like things out there. Like I'm not trying to be flirty. Like I'll do like the hand raise or like a smiley or whatever. Like, I don't know. Like, is that weird? Like, I just feel like there's like this weird, like, I don't know, wall. I don't know. It's weird.
No, I love that, Ashley. And, I think it's a desire to be seen as more, right?
Yeah.
Like we don't want to be seen as just pretty. We don't want to be seen as just anything. For me, a lot of times it's like, I want to be seen as more than an athlete. Like LeBron has that platform, right? When people see me, a lot of times they see somebody who is a basketball player, and that's all that matters to them, And so I'm like, okay, but I do many, many other things outside of that. But when something is so like in their face, sometimes that's all people can see. Yeah. And you are beautiful, and so that they don't, it's really a lazy way of complimenting someone because I'm going to compliment what's right here instead of taking the time to go deeper. Now, thank you for the heart you have to compliment me, right? They had the heart to tell you you're beautiful, and that's amazing. But it just shows like, okay, these are the people that just stopped there, as opposed to, wow, I love your input on this show, or wow, your design aesthetics is amazing, or just seeking to compliment deeper than what's right in front of my face. So I really do feel that.
Yeah.
Some of that has hit home a little bit more for me now that I've got a 3-year-old little girl. Like resisting the urge to every compliment be, oh babe, you look so sweet, or you look cute, or you're whatever, like saying like, look at this thing you're doing, or like, good job. Because it's not just like, you don't want to like and I don't know if this is like, way overthinking or whatever, but I was like, oh, like, let's not just only reinforce one value that you bring to the world, which is I think what you're saying. Now, all that being said, if more people wanted to talk about how attractive I am in the comments, that's okay. I will take that bullet for the female race. Like I can do that. But actually, to your point, it's another like thing. Like I don't even register. Obviously, if it's one of those like thirst trap, like spam accounts, or somebody like sends me something inappropriate, like usually it's not like a real human though. It's like a bot. But with the exception of that, like I'm not registering, hey, is it an issue for me to interact with this person, or are they going to like take it too far if I respond? Like, I know what's like appropriate like it's for me to say as a married man, but like, there we go. There's the comments we're looking for.
It's almost like it comes like, it's almost like sometimes like you question intentions of, males when they're like trying to be like, oh yeah, like, I don't know. Like, it's just, there's just like this weird dynamic. That's why I said like, interacting with females, I'm all like, the love, like, girl, you're so whatever. Like, I love that. But like when it's like guys, it's like I feel like I'm like, yeah, hooray, thanks. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know.
Brah?
Yeah.
That's the move.
Hey, bro. You're so cool.
That is
Kyra,
that is
sorry, I jumped in
so
front of you. What were
funny.
you gonna? Have you had to curb your experience on social medias?
Little bit. It's a little further removed for me because I've kind of started moving towards locking everything down. So like unless people know me, they're not going to show
Mm.
up in my DMs without all of the filters and stuff.
Mm.
And unless, yeah, so that helps. It doesn't mean it stops them because every now and then I'll go and I'll like check the spam folder and it's just full.
Yeah.
But it takes it off of my
Annoying.
plate and out of my mind, so I don't need to think about it as much, because sadly that feels about the only control I have is like I can't make it stop, but I can ignore it for a while.
Dang.
Yeah.
So,
Wild.
yeah.
Well, guys, I feel like we've covered a lot of super interesting stuff today. Do we want to, in terms of like challenges, are there any things where, and maybe this is, if you say no, that's fine. That's a fine answer. But is there anything you're like, hey, in addition to my superpower, like these are doors that have opened because I'm a woman, or these are unique opportunities or experiences that maybe like the upside, if you will.
For sure. Yeah. I can think of, a handful of opportunities as far as design stuff that they wanted to work with me because I was a woman. I mean, specifically more so my design style, I think, because what I create is
Sure.
definitely more feminine in nature. But for sure. Yeah. I mean, multiple opportunities. They're like, yeah, we've been wanting to work with a female because usually they're female projects. So yeah, for sure. There's definitely that aspect too.
Yeah, I can hear that. And I always think anytime I get hired to do like a women's ministry, I'm like, I can do this. Like I can echo this style. I can do this work. But like, man, how like blank could like crush this project, because like the stuff that I am personally drawn to stylistically, or things that come more naturally to me, are typically not what you see on, beauty products. And that's not surprising, right? Like, and so like, just anytime you're hiring somebody for things that they are more interested in, and I don't mean to sequester, all right, women, y'all can work on the women's ministry and makeup products, and like you have your fun over here, leave the real work. I realize that was the unsaid statement there. But I think what I'm trying to fumble through is, if you're hiring people for stuff that they're interested in, that they naturally like, that they do, or if they are in the target audience, like that all helps. And another point of like, if you take half of the creative population or the professional population, it's like, nope, you're missing an opportunity for like all these categories to be amazing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love what you said, Josh, about like if you hire somebody in your target audience, that's so key, because they will have an easier time figuring out how to speak to your target audience because they're literally that person. Yeah. So I love that. For me, I've definitely had opportunities because I'm a woman. I think especially in the consulting world, because I bring a female aspect, because I am a minority, I'm a Black woman as well. I walk in and ultimately I look like the people that you are trying to raise up. I look like the people you are trying to teach, whether it be a woman or a minority. And so there's certain things that I can say that somebody else just can't say. You know?
I was about to say, like, the white 50-year-old man that walks in the room is like, I'm the diversity coach or whatever. Like, you're like, well.
and he could, but he would have to do it a different way than I do it, because I can say certain things to them. I have had certain experiences. I have literally walked in their shoes. And so I actually pitched that to new companies. I'm like, listen, I have walked in their shoes, but at the same time, you see my resume, I've been successful in these different areas. And so it's kind of like a marriage of the two worlds. Yeah. And so I think that is key. It's just providing that other perspective. So I'm very grateful for
that. That feels like a total slam dunk in my mind.
Good job, Josh. I see what you did there.
Woo! I got 8 other basketball puns to get out before this episode is over. So.
Oh my gosh.
Kyra, how about you?
Yeah, in a similar vein, I found like most of the unique opportunities come where I tend to fit into that target demographic. So like in situations that do specifically require that feminine touch or that that intuition or that empathy that we bring to the table.
Mm.
Yeah, like I can remember some like specific times in my past life where like there would be a situation going on with one of the youth, and they wanted me to be the person to go with them to do something because they could feel that empathy, they could feel that care, they could
Sure.
feel that I was genuinely
Yeah.
like not just there because of my job, but like I genuinely cared about them.
Mhm.
And again, that's not saying that men don't bring that to the table, but this person could feel that there was an extra little bit of softness that I was bringing that they were maybe not getting somewhere else. And
Right.
so like in that unique situation that like I can definitely see some cases like that where that's happened.
And what you're describing is not male youth pastor or male youth leader has to bring you along for accountability because it's an issue with a female student. You're talking about like, hey, we want like the insight and empathy that you're offering, not just your biology, if you will.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
Love that.
No, that's good. And let me ask you guys this too. Like we've kind of bumped into it here. Does it register? Is it offensive? Is it fine? Do you love it? Like, what's your reaction when somebody comes to you and does say, hey, Ashley, you're a girl, do the makeup brand? Like, do you like being like, I don't know, like I personally don't have a problem being like, hey,
No.
you're a tool, fill the role. Like,
No, I
what
love
we're
it.
looking for is more middle-aged white guys with opinions. Can you come over here and do this thing?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
No, I love it. I love because that's the type, that comes naturally to me. Like, oh yeah,
Okay.
you want to work on a, packaging for a tanning company? Yes. Like I love that because that's like stuff I would be buying anyway. So like, yeah, I love that. I don't find that offensive at all. I think it's perfect.
Yeah,
The
I think there's
comments.
some people who would find it offensive, but I think those are the people who are looking for something to be offended by, right? It's like if you say anything, that's a sexist issue or that's a racist issue. And there are times where it absolutely is,
Sure.
right? But then there are some people who are literally looking for those things.
Mm.
Right.
And the other thing, Ashley, you said that's my natural lane. So of course I don't feel bad about people putting me in there. I think the problem comes when that's not your natural lane. That's not what you do. But then somebody is like, hey, you're a woman, do this. And you're
Yeah.
like, that's not even what I do.
Right.
Right. It'd be like trying to put a woman who never wears dresses in a dress just because she's a woman. You're like, that's not
Right.
that doesn't go. And so,
Yeah.
I think that's the line is like, is this naturally who this person is?
Yeah.
If it is, and they have a problem with it, then they're just looking for something.
Right. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I get offended. I kind of lean more like it's, even if it's not my thing, like I don't like the idea of the only reason of being asked to do something is like, well, you're a girl, do this. And it's like it comes back to that point of like, well, I want to be known for a little bit more than that. If you're coming to me and being like, do this for this women's ministry, because your style is exactly what they're looking for. It's like, well, absolutely. Yeah. Like that means they're paying attention. It's not just like one look and like the label, you're a woman, you can do this.
Yeah.
But if there's like some genuine thought and intention behind it.
Sure.
So that's kind of where like, I can admit I do get annoyed if like people are like, oh, well, you're a girl, so whatever. But like if there is that intention and that little bit of like, especially like if I've gotten to like there's a relationship there and I know that like their intent, what the intention is, then it's like, okay, I get it. Like we can work with that.
Right. And I think
that.
I don't know if you guys watch the TV show Mad Men, but
I've heard of it. I've never seen it.
I'll try and keep like 7 seasons down to like a 2-minute story.
Cool.
But one of the main characters is, I mean, this is like, whatever, like 60s era, mid-century stuff. So obviously like some of these issues are just like very blatantly shown throughout the kind of the palette there. But one of the leading characters is a female, like working her way up through the ranks at this big ad agency. And at first, all she's given is female products, and she's even getting fought on, like, are the like you're asking me my opinion, like this is why I use these products, and they're like, no, you just take notes for us type of mentality. And then watching her get known for her actual ideas and handle other products that are outside of, that lane or niche is I feel like it's a great little microcosm. So if you want to go watch 6 seasons of television to catch a little anecdote there, I got you, dog.
Yeah, no, it is the process it takes to get people to look beyond what they naturally would know you for or try to know you for. It's breaking out of the box that people automatically put you in. And depending on who we are, people do put us in different boxes.
Sure.
And I think a nice little like bow on part of this conversation is what we've talked about in several other episodes, including the social media episodes. Like, hey, why don't we strip away a lot of this stuff and just remember to treat the person on the other end of this conversation, whether it's, a gender conversation or a platform-based conversation or whatever context, that's another unique human being. And don't, like just try and like wrestle the relationship into being to matching your expectations or making it transactional in the case of like a social post. Yeah, I mean, like if you just like remember, hey, everybody's creating God's image, everybody's got some value, and let's spend some time to kind of listen. And what this did the thing you're not supposed to do as a live host event and got distracted down here in the comments. Dustin is killing it today. Goes in on some ladies at event art. That's great.
Funny.
Guys, let's do one last round robin here. And let's pretend that maybe you've got an open-minded male leadership figure here. He's like, all right, I'm jiving. Like, I hear what you're saying. What would be one baby step, like a practical takeaway, thing that the homie could do that would, get at least his organization one step closer to being healthy in his relationship with women as a kind of part of the organization and in leadership and kind of all the way up and down the line?
Yeah. I mean, I would think just kind of like what we've all been saying this whole episode is just treat us the same, like as far as, not seeing us for, oh, you're a woman, thinking maybe we're not as strong or we're not as, I don't know, whatever, I don't know. I think just treating us the same, treating it and not even treating it as like to my point earlier, like don't make it awkward. Like just treat us like normal. Like don't make it weird,
and weird being like coming on to you or just being like an awkward person like I am in 60% of these interviews?
A little bit of both. Yeah. A little bit of both. I mean, like to me, like I've never had someone in leadership ever like hit on me or anything like that. Nothing like that. But I'm just saying like, I don't know, just treat us normal. Just treat us like you would your friend, I don't know.
It's good.
Yeah, I would say a couple things. I would say number one, lead and be confident in who you are, because like you can only deal with other people's excellence if you're confident in what you bring to the table. Otherwise, if you have powerful women around you, you're going to be threatened by that. Right. So the best thing that you can do for the amazing women around you. Oh my gosh, my thing is going off. Can you hear that? Maybe Kyra.
Is there a fire?
No, you're about to lay it down there, though.
They made an announcement and we're like, we're going to be testing the thing. And I'm like, now is not a good time, guys.
The one time.
Oh my gosh. I can finish that thought in a sec if this is like too distracting, but I'm like,
I secretly like it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So basically like the best thing that you can do for the amazing people around you is to be confident in what you bring to the table. So that's Kyra, do you want to answer this and we'll come back to it? Oh, it just ended. Praise God. Look at God. I'll finish quick. So yeah, be confident in what you bring to the table. And then the other thing I would say is validate. So like other men and other women need to see, for different reasons, but other people need to see you like validate what she thinks. So like ask her, like you give your opinion, but then be like, okay, Ashley, what do you think about this? How do you feel? You know, like whatever.
That's good.
That's it.
Man, that was awesome.
Yeah, kind of to piggyback off of that, in terms of like validating, just maybe remembering and recognizing that sometimes like when women are bringing ideas or suggestions to the table, we are running it through an extra filter in our head before we even come to that point. So it does sometimes take a little bit of extra bravery for us to stand up and to speak up and things like that. So even just encouraging, I've been really like, I'm really bad at second guessing things and not bringing my ideas, but I've had leadership who are like, no, speak up more. And that's been like a simple piece of information, but it's been like foundational in me being like, okay, no, I've been given permission to share what I think. And I know it's going to be heard. So
that's super good. And I would piggyback off of that. Like, hey, when you say, hey, speak up in the meeting, don't leave people out to dry. Like in that moment, like you can't say, you don't have to like go along with their idea, but you also can't like not have their back at all, or, you know, consider what's being said.
Yeah.
Well, and like, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying like, yeah, he's like, yeah, go take the jump. Like you can do it. And you're like, oh dang, she fell hard. Oh, it sucks to be her. Like,
well, like to kind of clarify, like I wouldn't put anyone on the spot. Like I had it said to me just like in a one-on-one meeting, like speak up more, like as a general, like permission in meetings. So because I know like if you put someone on the spot in a big meeting and you want someone's opinion, it's going to be really awkward. Like if someone tells me in a meeting, like, Kyra, what do you think? Sometimes I can freeze and be like, but if I've got that permission beforehand, and like I know that I have that support and that validation, then being able to take that into those meetings, into those decisions and discussions,
that's good.
Is really helpful.
I can relate with you there on the like, I perform much better when I know what the heck this meeting is about, and then what is expected of me there. Like, because I do some of my best work and my best thinking like alone, and then like acid test that with a group of people. And so like you're saying, like, hey, like if I've got some time to ruminate on this thing before we get into the room, and knowing also like you've encouraged me, hey, like speak up if you've got an idea, pitch it, type of thing. That's great. Ash, have you collected your thoughts yet? No,
I already answered mine. What are you talking about?
Did you?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just
went
zone
first.
out every time I hear a woman talking. So
because no, like when you said that, I zoned out for a second. I'm like, wait, did I not answer it? I already answered it. Yeah. I went first.
You're good. I'm sorry. We got to figure out a better system here. I love doing these things live, but when I'm taking notes and commenting and thinking of my own answers and listening to everybody, it's just sometimes I slip, guys.
Just a lot.
Yeah, slip a lot.
You're doing a great job.
We're trying, baby. We're trying. All right, guys, you have your Sharpies ready. I think it's time to make a mark. Let us know down in the comments, like immediately, if you've got a great drawing prompt for us. And also, if you're listening along with us or drawing at home, email everything over to hello@brightcoal.com after the show, and we'll include your artwork in the episode cover.
I have a good idea for the prompt.
Okay.
I think we should do, like I said at the beginning, a girl power prompt.
Girl power.
Did either of you listen to the Spice Girls? Can I just ask you that?
Big Spice Girls.
Yeah. Okay. So there you go. Girl power. That's it.
All right. So I'm gonna go crazy, and we're gonna have 2 minutes this time because
oh dang. Okay.
The idea that I have cannot be done in 1 minute.
Okay.
And this is all about me on the ladies show.
So what are we gonna? We have to like have a little bit of like banter in the 2 minutes because that's gonna be like so boring.
I've got a great idea for banter for you, Ash. I think you
Okay.
should sing your favorite Spice Girls song,
Okay.
start to
No,
finish.
I'm not gonna do that.
Design
I
has
could
no
talk
gender
about them though.
parts.
I could talk about them. They were always my favorite. Not anymore, but they were my favorite. Okay, are we going?
We're going.
Okay.
We're going. Girl power. So Ash, did you ever go to a Spice Girls like thing?
No, I wish they were. You know, it was too expensive to go travel to see them. The closest, actually, I'll tell you, my first concert I ever went to was the Backstreet Boys. Actually,
No way.
Same here.
yeah, with my was it really?
Yeah,
That's funny. Was it their Millennium Tour?
I think so.
Were you like middle school age too?
Yeah, like grade 6 or 7.
Yeah. Okay. That's funny. Yes.
So-
So that was my first concert, and so
that
that was
was
the closest
also my
thing.
wife's. It was middle school also, and she went to see Backstreet Boys, and her mom was so pissed because she just stood there frozen. My wife is extremely animated. And she just stood there like frozen for 2 hours, and she's like, "Baby, what was that? Why did I spend all this money?" And she's like, "I was literally like
just
shocked
couldn't
out of
help
my
it,
mind.
Mom."
I couldn't function." So
That's awesome. Yeah. No. So that was my first concert. So no, I never saw the Spice Girls, but I did do a mini. Oh my gosh, this is so bad. I can't talk and draw at the same time. This is probably my worst drawing I think I've ever done.
I'm realizing that I'm really good at drawing when I've got a lot of time.
I
don't
can't.
need to
Oh my
talk
gosh,
as
this is
much.
so bad. I need to start over.
I say that, but this looks like steaming garbage. This is a
need
terrible
to
piece of
start
Oh
art.
my god, I'm just
Um,
I'm just not a drawer. I'm just not an artist. So
But honestly, that usually
Prepare you
means
guys.
you're gonna have the best stuff, because like sometimes the non-professionals are the ones that, wow, this is getting worse the longer I have. I had too
Mine
much
is so
time.
bad.
Take it all back. We got 5 seconds, guys.
Like as
Oh
designers,
no!
I think we have
What?
a
I
little more
restarted mine.
This is horrendous. Just because we had more time. All right, pencils down. Just
That
'cause
was
we
2
had more
minutes?
time, yeah, actually.
Oh my gosh. Okay, mine's so bad. This is probably my worst one.
All
that
right,
I've had so far.
everybody. Artwork up.
That
It
one's cool,
started
Josh.
way better as before I put too many
I'm
lines.
so stupid.
Chantelle, what
Your
is
guys'
that?
are good.
okay. So this
She
is
handed a heart to somebody.
She's hitting her
No.
power.
yeah, because like we will empower girls by like getting them as girls and loving girls. I know.
Yeah.
So yeah, like this is me and my niece, and you
Aw.
raised up empowered girls.
I
love
love
that.
that.
That was the
I
thought
love
process behind. I'm a writer, guys, not a designer.
No, I love that.
Okay.
Yours is better than mine, and I literally illustrate for a living, and yours is better
Let
than
me
mine.
see that. Let me see your bad drawing, Ashley.
So I was gonna. So okay, I first
Oh,
started
that's
out doing a
great.
peace sign.
Them bangs,
But my
are
hand-
killer.
My hand was like, it looked like sausages. It didn't work. So then I started drawing Baby Spice, but I drew it like within 15 seconds of when we ended. So
She's
that's why
cute.
it's bad.
She
Yeah,
cute.
it's
I
just
like
cute.
I like the bangs. I was going for the flame heart emoji and then doing bubble letter girl power, and instead
Yeah,
of
that's
a W
cool.
turned into an H. And I don't know what I was thinking with these like decorations outside, and the flame
think it's pretty cool.
looks rough, but
It almost looks
There
like
you
a
go.
belt buckle.
I don't think I've ever won one of these things. Not actually, no. Zeke says I win. The only dude on the ladies show won. Good job.
Wins.
It
We
was
got to see
awesome.
Kyra's though.
Kyra, what you got?
I went full like 90s.
No,
Oh,
hers is the
yes.
best.
and
Yes.
smiles
Yeah.
and stuff.
And look at the
That's the
depth. You
best
got the
one.
flower underneath. That's
I love it.
My vote is Kyra's.
Yeah,
Chantelle,
me
you need to hang up the Spurs. You're not a I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
I'll stick to
kidding.
writing.
I'm kidding. Guys, this has been an absolute blast today. Thank y'all so much for your time. Guys, we're going to have show links for everybody down in the show notes. It's going to be a wrap for today. If you've enjoyed this episode today, please drop a comment in the video. Very few things bring me more joy than YouTube comments. Love y'all. Adios.
Yay! Thank you so much. Appreciate.